Good morning to all on frequency, and thank you for tuning in to the Sandton Amateur Radio Club Bulletin this Sunday morning, the 28th of September 2025. You are listening to the club station of the Sandton Amateur Radio Club, ZS6STN, which is operated today from the Shack of Keith, ZS6 Hotel India. This club bulletin is broadcast every Sunday at 8:45 Central African Time on the following frequencies: 145-700 MHz FM in the 2-meter band, 7.115 MHz lower side band in the 40-meter band via relay from the Shack of Knoll ZR6DX. Echolink ZS6STN-R or L, and our all-star connected nodes to the various repeaters around the country. For those who've missed the bulletin, the recordings are uploaded to the club's YouTube channel on youtube.com/@ZS6STN, together with the recordings of the club's Power Hour Tech Talks. If you are out there listening to this morning's bulletin, please do call in after the news. It is great to know who is out there listening, so please do call in, and if you don't want to have a chat, just give your call sign and say "not coming back." There will be two opportunities for call-ins. Firstly, after the club birthdays, an opportunity to call in and provide club news or any information on related activities. Secondly, at the end of the bulletin, there is an opportunity for a general call-in on HF and 2 meters, which is our regular Sunday morning net and swap shop. The agenda for today: we'll start with the SARL news. We will then move on to club birthdays and club news. We will then consider the special topic of interest for this morning, and we will then take call-ins and swap shop on 40 meters and 2 meters. So let's commence with the SARL bulletin. The South African Radio League news for Sunday, 28th September 2025. Good morning and welcome to the weekly news bulletin of the South African Radio League, read by Keith, ZS6HI from Four Ways in Johannesburg. The South African Radio League broadcasts a news bulletin every Sunday in Afrikaans and English at 8:15 and 8:30 Central African Time, respectively, on HF and various VHF and UHF repeaters around the country. And the bulletin is relayed on Echolink and All-Star nodes. Audio bulletins can also be downloaded from the League website at SARL News. In the news today, we have Jota and CQ Hurkus in October. Are your Baycar payloads and all ground stations ready? And VHF news. Stay tuned for more information on these and other interesting news items. Jota and CQ Hurkus in October. Jota Joti, the world's largest amateur radio and digital scout event, promoting friendship and global citizenship, will be back on the air from 17 to 19 October 2025. Jota Joti is an annual event with scouts from across the world connecting with each other by amateur radio, Jota, and using the internet, Joti. Jota Joti is held on the third full weekend of October every year, coordinated by the World Organization of the Scout Movement. Scouts wanting to participate in Jota will need the support of at least one licensed amateur radio operator or the support of a local amateur radio club. For participation in Joti, Scouts will need access to a computer, a phone or a tablet, and an internet connection. For registration and the details, please visit Jota Joti 2025, a world shaped by youth. The website is www.jotajoti.info. CQ Hurkurs, the amateur radio event of the Fur Trekkers, takes place on Saturday, 18 October, and encourages QSOs between Fur Trekker commandos in South Africa and Namibia, as well as QSOs with Jota stations. Please start the ball rolling by contacting your local scout group, guide company and or Fur Trekker commando and offering your amateur radio services. News from Namibia. The Namibian Amateur Radio League held a successful AGM on Saturday, 20 September. Derek Moore, Victor 51 Delta Mike was elected as president of the NARL. The SARL wishes the new council of the NARL all the best going forward, and thanks Werner Muller, Victor 51 Juliet Papa, for his many years of service to the NARL. Next on the agenda, are your Baycar payloads and or ground stations ready? With 2 weeks to go, as mentioned in the recent bulletins and in HF Happenings 1165, Baycar 13 will be traveling to the edge of space on Saturday, 11 October at around 7:30 CAT. And the Baycar team would really value your participation. So how do you get involved? If you are flying a payload, be sure that it is registered and on site before the launch early on launch day. If you are not flying a payload, why not come through to the TRMC Model Flying Airfield in Trichard Secunda for the launch day fun if you can, and or get your ground stations ready to track the balloon, use the crossband repeaters, and receive the telemetry and SSTV transmissions from wherever you may be. As a helpful aid, here are some of the details of the registered payloads that you can prepare for. The Juchland Club VHF SSTV on 144 600 MHz. The Sandton Club UHF SSTV on 433 400 MHz. The ZR6TG APRS on 144 800 and SSTV on 144 500 MHz payloads. The Baycar Team UHF APRS on 433 775 MHz. LoRa APRS on 434 6.65 MHz. RTTY on 433 MHz and LoRa on 433 600 MHz. The ZR6 Whiskey Tango Whisper Beacon will be on 10 meter band on a 28 MHz channel 93. The ZS6WBT LoRa will be on 868 MHz and ZS6CYE LoRa on 433.775 MHz. And APRS on 144 800 MHz. So a lot of stations to get into and to help with the tracking of the balloon, as well as those 2 SSTV or 3 SSTV stations. Are you new to SSTV and wish to receive the images from the edge of space? Then here is a very simple approach. Tune your HT or other radio to the SSTV frequency. Load and activate the Robot 36 app on your Android mobile phone or SSTV on your Windows PC. Let your mobile phone or PC listen to the output of your radio speaker, and when the transmission starts, be amazed, and then go and show your friends and family. Yes, it may help to have a good antenna connected to the radio. The AMSAT SA Yagi pointing towards Secunda is probably ideal, but either way, you will be able to enjoy the magic of receiving those SSTV images on your PC or cell phone. This is a great activity to involve the scouts as well. Are you new to Whisper and want to receive and track the Whisper beacon? Then here is another simple approach. Connect your PC with the WSJTX app to your radio. Select WSPR mode on the WSJTX app and select the 10 meter band. Then watch the ZR6 Whiskey Tango Whisper beacon spots being received on WSJTX. Another alternative is connect to WSPRTV.com. I repeat, WSPRTV.com. Plug in the call sign ZR6 Whiskey Tango on channel 93 and the 10 meter band, and you're able to track it on the map. Please stand by for more details of these, but this should be certainly enough to get your Baycar tracking ground station started. Oh, do not forget that you have successfully decoded the quiz embedded in the ZS6STN UHF SSTV images and publish your images and your quiz answer. You may even get to win a Take-A-Lot voucher. Over and above the amazement and the bragging rights that you will receive from your fellow amateurs, family and friends for doing all of the decoding. There are now 2 weeks to go to the Baycar Centenary launch on Saturday, 11 October. Get excited and get ready. You are listening to a news bulletin of the South African Radio League. The October 2025 Radio ZS will be available for download from Monday, 29 September. There are 3 articles for the YLs in this issue. Chris, ZS6GM, poses a question to resonate or not to resonate. And we ask what happens when you press the magic tune button. NASA is also looking for volunteers to track the Artemis 2 mission and get information about the DX Marathon Sprint program, which kicks off on 18 October. And we also look at Phoenix 4-meter dipole and an omnidirectional mixed polarization antenna for 50 and 70 megahertz. And there is much more in this issue. The IT team is busy uploading the Radio ZS archives, and you will find the link to previous issues at mysarl.org.za/radio-ZS-archives. The archives are still a work in progress. VHF News. Vladimir Sidara, Echo Uniform 1 Mike, the IARU liaison for the BFRR, reports that on Tuesday, 23 September 2025, the Belarusian National Inspection for Electric Communications released an official statement confirming that the frequency range of 50 to 52 megahertz has been released to the amateur and amateur satellite service in Belarus. The 6-meter band is available for the Class A, this is the top class license in Belarus, amateur radio license holders. The Class A license holders can now apply for permission to use the extra 50 to 52 megahertz radio frequency spectrum. It is great and long-awaited news for the Belarus amateur radio community. Contest news. And whilst you're getting ready for Baycar, please do remember that the Spring QRP contest is scheduled for Saturday, 18 October from 1:30 to 3:30 UTC. I repeat, 1:30 to 3:30 UTC. This is an ideal opportunity to fire up your radio and to have some fun without stressing Eskom too much in terms of your power consumption. Why not even take the opportunity to get outdoors with your radio, with or without a buddy, and enjoy a local park or other awesome picnic spot. This is the final leg of the QRP contest for 2025, and it is going to be exciting to see who goes the distance and successfully grabs the final awards. You now have only 3 weeks to make your decisions and perhaps to invite a buddy to tag along with you. Catch you on air during the Spring QRP contest. 24 logs were received for the second leg of the Africa FT4 DX contest held on 13 September. 17 logs were received from operators within African DXCC entities and the other 7 from non-African entities. The African entities were as follows. First, John Green, Alpha 2, November Echo Whiskey with 262 points. Second, Philip van Tonder, ZS6 PVT with 209 points. And third, Dani Schnettler, ZS6 DPS with 182 points. The combined results of the 2 legs in the African entity category: first, Dani Schnettler, ZS6 DPS with 308 points, and second, Kobus Boshoff, ZS6 POS with 270 points, and third, John Green, Alpha 2, November Echo Whiskey with 262 points. Moving on to the propagation report. Hannes Kutsia, ZS6 BZP, reports that the solar activity is expected to be at low to moderate levels. There are currently 10 sunspot regions with simple to slightly complex magnetic configurations visible. A high class for C-class and low to moderate probability for M-class solar flares. If you want to do your own frequency predictions, the expected effective sunspot number for the week is around 124. The 15 to 30 meter bands may, especially in the late afternoon and early evening, provide some excellent DX fun. Please visit spaceweather.sansa.org.za for further information. And finally, a diary of some upcoming events. Today is the CQWW RTTY contest, as well as the ZS1 QSO party. The 1st and 2nd of October, it's Yom Kippur. On the 2nd of October, it is the SARL 80-meter QSO party. On the 3rd of October, the provincial schools will close. The 4th to the 10th of October is World Space Week. On the 7th of October, it's World Habitat Day and the Draconids Meteor Shower. On the 8th of October, it's the Early Morning Coffee QSO Party. And to conclude our bulletin, a recap of our main news story. Jyoti, the world's largest amateur radio and digital scout event promoting friendship and global citizenship, will be back on the air from 17 to 19 October. With CQ Hurkurus, the amateur radio event of the Fur Trekkers, taking place on Saturday, 18 October. And we encourage QSOs between Fur Trekker commandos in South Africa and Namibia, as well as QSOs with JOTA stations around the world. This concludes the bulletin for this morning. All clubs and individuals are invited to submit news items of interest to radio amateurs and shortwave listeners in both English and Afrikaans if possible, by sending the items to news@sarl.org.za or uploading onto the mysarl.org.za website by no later than the Friday morning preceding the bulletin date. You have listened to a news bulletin written by Andy Cairns, ZS680Y, proofread by Paul Johnson, ZS1 Sierra, and read by Keith as ZS6HI. From the SARL news team, best wishes for the week ahead. We're going to now move on to the birthdays and club news of the Sandton Amateur Radio Club. So, just having a look at our birthday list. I think we mentioned Alan Cowley, ZS6 Alpha Mike, and Marco Romario, ZS6MAR last week, but their birthdays were held recently on the 26th of September. So once again, to you, congratulations on your birthdays. Then, tomorrow, we have Nicholas van der Skyf, ZS6 VDS, and on the 30th, we have Derek Tinderholm, ZR6 DPT. On the 2nd of October, Sheldon Janssen van Rensburg, ZS6 KID. And on the 3rd of October, Peter Engelbrecht, ZS6 PJE. So let's just go. And then on the 5th, we have a number of birthdays, but the 5th is coming up, and I think the 5th is next Sunday. So I'm not going to read all of the 5th birthdays into the record. That will be for the bulletin reader next week. So congratulations to all those having celebrated and about to celebrate your birthdays, and we hope that you have wonderful years ahead. Right, now let's move on to some club news, and I'd like to open up the channel to anybody that may wish to introduce any club news. ZS6STN is now listening for club news. Okay, nothing heard, so let me give you some club news then. The Sandton Amateur Radio Club annual general meeting was held last week Wednesday evening, my apologies, at our clubhouse at 11 Kildune Road, Bryanston. And it was well attended by some people online and a number of people in the clubhouse itself. So the new committee has been appointed, and we will broadcast the details to you shortly. But thank you to all those that participated in the annual general meeting, or those that were able to come online and participate via Zoom, and finally those that did send their proxies in. We required 17 members to be present in proxy or online or present for a quorum, and we managed to achieve that goal. So our new club chairman is Matthew, ZS6MDV. Our new treasurer is Brett, ZS6MIV, and the secretary remains as Keith as ZS6HI, with a number of members picking up on various portfolios. We will broadcast all the details to you shortly. At this point in time, the club committee is intending to just do a switch over of the treasury details to Brett from Greg, ZS6GL, who we thank for all the years of service he has given as treasurer and as a member on the committee of the Sandton Amateur Radio Club. And we will also be meeting shortly to have a strat session to plan the year ahead for each one of the portfolios, and then we will broadcast those details to all club members. So stand by for more from the Sandton Amateur Radio Club Committee. Richard, ZR6 Delta Echo, has procured and filled a beautiful toolbox for the Sandton Amateur Radio Club. Those tools are available to club members to borrow if they need those tools to build antennas or to test their antennas or to do various elements on their antennas and so on. Strip coax, add connectors. All the tools are now available in a toolbox that belongs to the Sandton Amateur Radio Club. The toolbox will probably have its first outing coming up with the antenna build that's going to take place a week after the RAE exam. So the RAE exam's on the 18th of October, and the following week we will be doing an antenna build where all those who are interested can come out and build a linked dipole antenna for 10, 20, 30 and 40 meters. So if you're interested in building a antenna and would like to procure one of the kits, please do let us know on the WhatsApp group, and we will then put your name down and send you the invoice for the kit. If I recall, it's about 300 Rand. I don't have my WhatsApp open to check that, but if Gerrit's on, he can give us more details of that. Also this weekend, on Saturday yesterday, we had the RAE candidates, those who had not yet completed their HF assessments, coming through to do their HF assessments. So congratulations to all those that did their HF assessments yesterday and successfully got through that hurdle. It's now only the last lectures and then the exam on the 18th of October. So a very big thank you to Brandon, ZS6 Lima Zulu, and Justin, ZS6 Juliet Golf Papa, who were our RAE assessors on the day yesterday. Then upcoming, you heard it in the news, but on the 18th of October is the last leg of the QRP contest for this year. And that contest is hosted by ZS6STN, and obviously we would like as many members to participate in the QRP contest as possible. You don't even have to run QRP. You can run QRO if you wish to, but it's always great to get everyone on the band and participating in those in that contest. Then you also heard about Baycar, and I have mentioned it previously, but just to reiterate, there will be two Baycar payloads being flown by members of the ZS6STN, and that would be Nathan, ZR6 Bravo November, and Keith, ZS6HI. So we are, Nathan is flighting a sensor package and a memorial, and Keith is flighting the UHF SSTV broadcast, which is going to intersperse fixed images overlaid with sensor data and real live images overlaid with sensor data. That's what you can receive from the balloon that's going to be hovering about 30 kilometers above the Earth's surface, deep into the stratosphere. So we would like as many members to participate to actually engage with the Baycar balloon, do the tracking for the Baycar balloon, maybe post your tracking information onto the website, and if you are receiving the SSTV images, to post your images onto the WhatsApp channel, and then if you get the quiz, you might even be in the running to win that take-a-lot voucher. So let's move on to the topic of interest. And you heard in the bulletin that Space Week is coming up, so I thought that we would extract this little article that I recently saw, where this is from the NASA.gov website, and it's a news release, and it says, NASA says Mars rover discovered potential biosignatures last year. A sample collected by NASA's Perseverance Mars rover from an ancient dry riverbed in the Jezero crater could preserve evidence of ancient microbial life. Taken from a rock named Cheyava Falls last year, the sample, called Sapphire Canyon, contains potential biosignatures, according to a paper published Wednesday in the journal Nature. The potential biosignature is a substance or structure that might have a biological origin, but requires more data or further study before a conclusion can be reached about the absence or presence of life. This finding by Perseverance, launched, is the closest we have ever come to discovering life on Mars. The identification of a potential biosignature on the red planet is a groundbreaking discovery, and one that will advance our understanding of Mars, said the acting NASA Administrator Sean Duffy. NASA's commitment to conducting gold standard science will continue as we pursue our goal by putting American boots on Mars' rocky soil. Perseverance came upon the Cheviot Falls in July 2024 while exploring the Bright Angel Formation, a set of rocky outcrops on the northern and southern edges of the Neretva Vallis, an ancient river valley measuring a quarter-mile wide that was carved by water rushing into the Jezero crater long ago. This finding is a direct result of NASA's effort to strategically plan, develop, and execute a mission able to deliver exactly this type of science, the identification of potential biosignature on Mars, said Nikki Fox, the Associate Administrator of the Science Mission Directorate at NASA headquarters in Washington. With the publication of this peer-reviewed result, NASA makes this data available to the wider science community for further study to confirm or refute its biological potential. The rover's science instruments found that the formation's sedimentary rocks are composed of clay and silt, which on Earth are excellent preservers of past microbial life. They are also rich in organics, carbon, sulfur, oxidized iron, i.e. rust, and phosphorus. The combination of chemical compounds we found in the Bright Angel Formation could have been a rich source of energy for microbial metabolisms, said the Perseverance scientist Joel Hurowitz of Stony Brook University, New York, and lead author of the paper. But just because we saw all of these compelling chemical signatures in the data didn't mean we had a potential biosignature. We needed to analyze what that data could mean. First, to collect data on this rock were Perseverance's Planetary Instrument for X-ray Lithochemistry and Sherlock, the scanning habitable environments with Raman and luminance for organics and chemical instrumentation. While investigating Java Falls, an arrowhead-shaped rock measuring 3.2 feet by 2 feet or 1 meter by 0.6 meters, they found what appeared to be colorful spots. The spots on the rock could have been left behind by microbial life if it had used the raw ingredients, the organic carbon, sulfur, and phosphorus in the rock as an energy source. In higher resolution images, the instruments found a distinct pattern of minerals arranged into reaction fronts, points of contact where chemical and physical reactions occur. The team called these lipid spots. The spots carried the signature of two iron-rich minerals, vivianite, hydrated iron phosphate, and greigite, iron sulfide. Vivianite is frequently found on Earth in sediments, peat bogs, and around decaying organic matter. Similarly, certain forms of microbial life on Earth can produce greigite. The combination of these minerals, which appear to have been formed by electron transfer reactions between the sediment and organic matter, is a potential fingerprint for microbial life, which would use these reactions to produce energy for growth. The minerals also can be generated abiotically or without the presence of life. Hence, there are ways to produce them without biological reactions, including sustained high temperatures, acidic conditions, and binding by organic compounds. However, the rocks at Bright Angel do not show evidence that they experienced high temperatures or acidic conditions, and it is unknown whether the organic compounds present would have been capable of catalyzing the reaction at low temperatures. The discovery was particularly surprising because it involves some of the youngest sedimentary rocks the mission has investigated. An earlier hypothesis assumed signs of ancient life would be confined to older rock formations. findings suggest that Mars could have been habitable for a longer period or later in the planet's history than previously thought, and that older rocks also may contain signs of life that are simply harder to detect. Astrobiological claims, particularly those related to the potential discovery of past extraterrestrial life, require extraordinary evidence, said Katie Stack-Morgan, Perseverance's project scientist at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory in Southern California. Getting such a significant finding as a potential biosignature on Mars into a peer-reviewed publication is a crucial step in the scientific process because it ensures rigor, validity, and significance of our results. And while abiotic explanations for what we see at Brightwater are less likely, given the paper's findings, we cannot rule them out. The scientific community uses tools and frameworks like the cold scale and standards of evidence to assess whether data related to the search for life actually answers the question, are we alone? Such tools help improve understanding of how much confidence to place in data, suggesting a possible signal of life outside of our planet. Sapphire Canyon is one of 27 rock cores the rover has collected since landing in the Jezero crater in February 2021. Among the suite of science instruments is a weather station that provides environmental information for future human missions, as well as swatches of spacesuit material so that NASA can study how it fares on Mars. This is managed for NASA by Caltech, the NASA JPL built and managed the operation of Perseverance rover on behalf of the agency's Science Mission Directorate as part of NASA's Space Exploration Program. To learn more, please visit science.nasa.government/missions/Mars-2020-Perseverance. Well, I hope you found that of interest. I know that we're always searching for life outside of our solar system and inside of our solar system. So that is quite an interesting little bit of information. Thank you to all that listened this morning. Thank you out there for listening, of your interest and your participation. We trust that you enjoyed the bulletin, and please feel free to contribute ideas, comments, or any constructive criticism to info@ZS6STN.org.za. And as always, thank you to the stations that assisted with relays and to those who contribute to the content from time to time. Please join us again next Sunday at 0845 CAT for the regular bulletin of the Sandton Amateur Radio Club. This brings to a close the weekly bulletin of the Sandton Amateur Radio Club, ZS6STN, today operated by Keith, ZS6 Hotel India, from Four Ways in Johannesburg. Thank you to all, and 7-3. ZS6STN now relinquishes all frequencies for general use.